Hello and welcome to Watch Releases Recap for the week of December 6th until December the 13th. Let's begin with Citizen and their new Series 8 Mechanical GMT Limited Edition watch. Citizen Series 8 is a pretty popular line of watches in Japan, and recently in 2021 it has been released worldwide. I covered a few of these releases. The most prominent one was one of the first videos that I've done in this format, was the GMT version that I personally didn't really love all that much, but a lot of people did. Since then they released a few other versions like the Divers, and now for 2024 there is a new release in this GMT style with a few twists. The biggest difference between this and other versions is of course the color combination. This one really does stand out. It features this sort of Batman style bezel with both black and blue colors. And of course this dial is very striking. To me it kind of looks like Frozen Lake or something like that. Although Citizen is not Grand Seiko, so they're not really playing up this angle all that much, how it's inspired by some natural phenomenon. Is just a cool dial color. And as far as the case and the dimensions go, this one is very similar to all the other versions. It's 41mm in diameter, it's about 13.5mm in case height. It's made out of stainless steel, although it is coated with this sort of dark gray coating. And of course, on the bracelet, the metal links are coated in the blue coating. Also, there are a couple of accents with this blue coating on the watch head itself. Now, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Some people will like it, some people will not. I tend to be in a camp that doesn't really like this. To me, it's over stylized, but hey, not every watch is going to appeal to everyone. As far as the price and availability goes, this one is a limited edition to 2,200 pieces, and it's priced at $1,995 US. The new Mido Multifort Mechanical Limited Edition. Lately, Mido has been releasing some interesting watches, including this model. Like it or hate it, it is interesting. So in the last few years, we've seen a few of these dials come out. The most famous one, I think, is the Bulgari Octofinissimo, their sketch dial. Well, now for 2024, Mido has given us their take on this dial. This one is not a sketch, it's more of an X-ray of a very famous movement. It's the ETA 6498 or 6497, also known as the Unitas. These movements have been around for a very long time. Originally, they started their lives in pocket watches. This model does come in a fairly large case because this movement is fairly large. So the diameter of the watch is 44mm. It's only 12.2mm in case height because these are hand-wound movements. And this one is about 51mm from one lug to another. So you do have to have a pretty large wrist to wear this watch comfortably. It comes with 100 meters of water resistance and it's made out of stainless steel. Now, as I mentioned, this one is powered by the hand-wound ETA 6498. It has 17 joules, it beats at 18,000 vibrations per hour, and this one features 46 hours of power reserve. As far as the design of it, I'm not too sure. I like the loom effect that they've done on this watch. I think that looks pretty cool and it looks very unique. But this sort of X-ray design on the dial itself, I don't know, it's not really my cup of tea, but I know some people will really like it. As far as the price and availability goes, this one is a limited edition to 999 pieces and it's priced at 1,590 euro. The Omega Speedmaster Aqua Terra 150 meters with the turquoise dials. The Omega Aqua Terra 150 meters breaks down almost into two separate sub-collections. On one hand, you have the standard Aqua Terra. On the other hand, you have these sort of shades collection, and the difference between the two are slightly differently finished cases, as well as a more sort of brushed finish on the dial, as opposed to striped matte finish on the standard Aqua Terra. Well, these new models are in the Shades collection. They feature these new turquoise dials, which do look very attractive. I also really like the matte indexes and the matte set of hands, as well as the black date wheel. I think all of that looks very sharp, and we do get two different sizes. So there's the smaller one in a 38mm diameter, and there is the larger one in a 41mm case diameter. They are slightly different thickness as well. So the 41mm watch is about 13.3mm in case height. The smaller one is about 12.4mm in case height. And of course, lug-to-lug distance is different. The smaller one is 45mm. The larger one is about 48mm. Both versions are made out of stainless steel. Both of them feature 150 meters of water resistance, and both of them are available on the bracelet. However, the movement powering the two watches is slightly different. So the smaller version is featuring a caliber 8800. It's a coaxial movement. It's a slightly older version of the movement. It beats at 3.5 Hertz, and it has about 55 hours of power reserve. The larger version features the caliber 8900. It's also a coaxial movement. It also beats at 3.5 Hertz, but this one has 60 hours of power reserve. As far as the pricing and availability goes, both of them are priced the same, 7,300 euro. I really like this edition. I think it's great, and Omega recently has been doing a few of these sort of very quiet releases. It's just a watch that appears on their website without too much press, without too much hype behind it, but I think this one here is a winner in my book. And there's actually another Omega release. This one is of a Speedmaster called Pilot Flight Qualified. A few months ago, there were some leaked, quote-unquote leaked images of this Omega Speedmaster that was apparently issued to US Air Force, and there was some buzz behind it online. Some people were sort of asking Omega to release this watch to the general public. And I think even if there wasn't many people asking for this release to the general public, I think Omega was still planning to do it anyways. But here we are, end of 2024, and this watch is available for sale. It is sort of based on the design of the old Flightmaster models, and I actually think that Omega should bring back that line of watches. I think general sort of casual watch collector is getting overwhelmed with how many different versions of the Speedmaster there are. So if they sort of separate this line into something else like a Flightmaster, that might make sense, but at the same time, I understand why they don't do it, because it might be too much, and also they're trying to capture that Speedmaster collector, someone who's trying to own or collect as many different Speedmasters as possible. Well, now there's another one that looks quite unique that you would have to add to your collection. As far as the case design of this watch, it is quite different to the standard Speedy. This one features straight lugs. It's about 40.9 millimeters in case diameter, so almost 41 mil. It's about 49.5 millimeters from one lug to another, and this one is a bit on the thicker side, about 14.5 millimeters, including the domed crystal. Now, one of the reasons why this watch is on the thicker side is because it's not a hand-wound movement featured in this one. It's actually a coaxial automatic movement, caliber 9900. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 54 joules and 60 hours of power reserve. And this is a really good movement. It has fantastic anti-magnetic properties, and it is MADAS certified. Another thing that I appreciate about this watch is the bumped up water resistance. So the standard Speedy, the Moon watch, features 50 meters of water resistance. This one here features 100 meters of water resistance. And I know to a lot of people that's not a big deal, but just sort of anecdotally speaking, whenever I wear my watch and I wash dishes or something like that, I am always afraid that it's gonna get some water inside. And I know you can technically swim with this watch, but I did have a couple of occasions where I got some fog under the crystal in my Moon watch. So having 100 meters of water resistance, I think just gives you that extra bit peace of mind. And I don't know why they haven't implemented this on the Moon watch. You have the technology, just implement it on the Moon watch, implement it on all of your watches. As far as the design of this watch goes, I really like it. I like the orange accents. There's the dot over 90 on this sort of matted aluminum bezel insert. I like the grainy finish to the dial. I like the little airplane for the seconds hand on the chronograph. The color combination looks great. It is just totally my cup of tea. I am a big fan of the look of this watch. I just kind of wish it was maybe a bit thinner, although I haven't seen this one in person yet. Some watches, even though they are a bit thicker, they still wear very well. So hopefully I'll get my hands on one, and hopefully I'll do a review on this YouTube channel. As far as the price and availability, so this one is added to the standard catalog. It's not a limited release, and it is priced at 10,050 euro, or about 9,500 USD. The new Louis Vuitton Escale Platinum with Guilloché and Grand Fou enamel dial. Louis Vuitton is of course best known for their leather goods and their fashion clothing. They had a few watches here and there, some of them were hits back in 90s, and I think now they're trying to capitalize on the popularity of luxury watches, and they really are focusing on more better quality luxury watches. I think they realized that their cheap quartz watches are just not gonna do it. So here we go, we got the new Escale 39mm, which actually looks kind of cool if you're into this type of watch. It comes in a platinum case, about 39mm in diameter. This one is only 9.3mm in case height. It has 50 meters of water resistance, and it is an automatic movement. This one is actually powered by the caliber LFT023, which is a micro rotor movement with 50 hours of power reserve, 32 joules, and it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. And by all accounts, looking at this watch, you can see that the movement is very beautiful. Another special part about this watch is this blue enamel dial. It features traditional dial making techniques like guilloché pattern and the Grand Fou enamel, which is fire finished enamel to kind of create better integrity and to create this unique pattern. So these dials are very difficult to execute. You do have to finish them by hand, and of course in a platinum case with this fancy movement, this watch is not going to be cheap. So it's limited to only 50 pieces, and this one is priced at 75,000 euro. Yeah, it's a very expensive watch, but at least I think they're trying something different. It's not my cup of tea, but if you like it, you like it, and for some reason I think this one will sell out. I think this will be a pretty popular release for LV. The new Urwerk UR230 Ceramique. Last year, Urwerk released a UR230 Polaris, which is essentially the same watch as this, although that one was made out of this kind of carbon fiber composite. This one is made out of white ceramic, although they're saying it's not exactly ceramic. It's a ceramic with something else woven in, so it has better anti-shatter resistance, which is a good idea, because one of the downsides of ceramic is, of course, it is very easy to shatter it if you bang it against something very sharp. It's not exactly like a table, but maybe a doorknob or like a granite countertop, something like that. You could actually crack and shatter your case. Apparently this one is much harder to shatter. The design of this watch is of course very Urwerk. It's very out there. Apparently it's inspired by the Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, which I can kind of see. It is also a little bit reminiscent of a Stormtrooper with its color combination. Now this one features a few Urwerk signature designs. Number one, the way you read hours with a sort of big arrow and the flipping digits. Number two, the retrograde minutes. So every time the new hour rolls around, the minutes kind of reset back to 0, which is kind of cool. And lastly, it features this sort of twin barrel design. From my understanding, you can adjust how much power comes from the rotor. So if you're doing some very intensive activities, let's say you're playing tennis wearing this watch, you can sort of turn off the rotor winding, or you can turn up the rotor winding. Not exactly sure why you need that complication and who uses that complication, but this one does feature it. Now, as far as the dimensions go, this one is about 44.8 millimeters in width. It's about 53.5 millimeters in length. So it's quite a large watch, and it's almost 18.5 millimeters in case height. You do have to have a pretty big wrist and a pretty big wallet to comfortably afford this one. It is powered by the caliber UR7.30, which features 50 joules, 48 hours of power reserve, and it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. This one is limited to only 35 pieces and it's priced at 150,000 Swiss francs. So yeah, it's a very expensive watch for a specific buyer. Let me know what you think about this release and all the other releases that I talked about in this video. I always enjoy reading your comments. Also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future. And we'll see you next time. Bye.